Okay, so it's Sunday morning, it's the middle of July, and even though it is the summertime, weather gets a bit unpredictable this time of year. It's been quite humid the last few days. And, so I'm in here because I want to take the head and cylinder barrel to look for any kind of signs of bore wear. It is running slightly richer than I'd like. 11mm. God, don't need it tight. Right, this is a maxi head on a maxi barrel, Tomos A3 bottom end. Catch all the washers. To be fair, actual cylinder heads off the combustion chamber. Might be a little sign of it blowing there, but it's not burnt. So that's just why I think we'll just remove the head there. But carbon-wise, it's been a while since I cleaned this up, and only a slight bit there. It's actually really good. Right, now let's take the exhaust off. The A3 exhaust does not line up with the maxi barrel because they're at different angles. The barrel's supposed to be horizontal, so the port faces down, not that way. Spanner. Also to give the exhaust a slight kick by there as well, just to get to clear that nut, although it has been hitting it slightly. Right, now for the carburetor. This is about to have fuel in it as well, so I'm going to try and rest it on top of the engine, like so. Right, this is probably the hardest nut to get to because it's right beneath the fuel tap and it's right in the bend of the inlet manifold. The other side though, very straightforward. Right, let's make sure we catch everything. So we've got nut. There's going to be some washers around here. We don't want those going in the engine. There's one of them. Right, take the barrel off. Nice. Well, I can't see any sign of piston slap on it. Oh, hang on. Spoke too soon. Don't know if you can see that. There, it's a little bit shiny. There. But that's actually on the intake side. It seems to be a little bit, I don't know if you can make that out, either sides of the transfers as well. To measure the bore and also the piston ring gap as well. You can actually still see the crosshatch on it as well. It's still about 1500 miles, so I'm quite pleased with that. Right, let's get this piston out and we'll delve a bit further in, shall we? So I think I've worked out what the issue is with the kind of slightly unusual bore wear is. Quite a bit of play in the small end bushing, and also a slight bit in the bottom end. I won't be able to tell how much until I've got the small end sorted, because it's kind of skewing the kind of test a little bit. So yeah, let's get that piston off and see what it looks like. Yeah, definitely got a bit of play in there. And this is a brass bushing. It's a 14 by 12 because the airsoft kit uses a 12mm pin, not a 10mm pin. So I'm going to have to change that bushing, I think. If I pull on the actual conrod itself, there is a little bit of an outplay on it though. A little bit side to side. So I have to see how it goes, I think, by swapping out that bushing first. Okay, so I spared you the horror of pulling out the small end bush. That thing. But if you kind of read the Haynes manual, there's a little handy guide in there. Essentially, you get a bolt. The head is about the same size as the OD, or slightly less, for the bush. And then conrod is there. Socket on the outside of the conrod. And in this case, it's a 16mm. And then you just put a washer, a couple of washers, and a nut. And as you tighten it up, that bush essentially gets pulled through the small end of the conrod and into the socket. And then to reinstall the bush, you essentially just do the reverse. You just pull it in to the small end. You do need to ream the bush out afterwards because it does essentially shrink in size. And then you also, if it's a brand new one, you've got to drill the holes as well, the oil holes. There's one top and bottom. Right, next step, let's get the piston back on. So look at that piston. I did spot there was a little bit of blow by on the rings. So, as we expected from the engine of this kind of mileage. But we're going to be giving it a bit of a clean up and I'll be putting it back together again. Right, piston back on again. Remember, arrow pointing down towards the exhaust port. Certainly less wiggle now in the small end, but I've still got a bit of wiggle on the big end, which I'm not very happy about. I see a full engine rebuild in the future for this particular bike. Let's replace that base gasket, put it back together again, and see what happens. Right, just got a base gasket out of my stash. I don't think it's been used before because generally I bin them after I take them off. It's a little bit discoloured. It does match the transfer ports okay, which is the most important thing. It also matches okay there. Right, let's put the barrel back on. I didn't bother actually checking the ring gap on this to see how much bore wear there was because I can't actually see any. I can't feel any. To be fair, this bike doesn't get as much use as the red one does. Although it has covered nearly the same amount of miles, so not sure. I have a funny feeling I'm going to be back inside this engine sooner rather than later anyway. Because I'm not happy about that crank. So I'm going to get a full rebuild at some point. Little trick of the day. Getting these washers on there is quite fiddly. If you put on a screwdriver first, line them up with the top of the stud, just let them slide down off the end of the screwdriver onto the stud, like so. And just go put the nut in your end of your socket and put that on. And then repeat it another 3 times. Right, cylinder head nuts on a Tomos is 9 foot-pounds. As I said before in other videos, I was tighten them diagonally. And 9 foot-pounds is not much more than hand tight. Although it depends how strong your hands are. And also, how long a lever you're using to tighten them up. But always use a torque wrench to be sure. There we go. Always unwind your torque wrench afterwards so you don't stretch the spring. That old small end bush can go in there. And take the bike outside and give it a start. Seems alright. Seems a bit tighter actually. Yeah, you can hear that kind of pronounced knot already. Pretty sure is the big end. It's not vibrating much, but got some concerns about it. Well, I was hoping that rattling was just going to be a bit of piston slap, but obviously it's not. I'm pretty sure the big end is gone on it by that playing that bearing. So I'm going to have to basically either rebuild this engine or fit another engine. But that's going to be a job for another day. Anyway, thanks for subscribing if you've done so recently. It's much appreciated. And take care. I'll see you again soon.